does. And people know that it does this, so they'll put it in my chat and they'll be like, oh no, you sound like the chipmunks again. And I'm like, shit. But we are live, so we're going to wait for everybody. Yeah, we're back, Ashley. Hopefully I don't sound like a chipmunk.
I thought they were all waiting.
They were. I had to end the live stream because we were sounding like Alvin and the Chipmunks. So
I want to be Alvin.
You want to be Alvin? I want to be Theodore. So I'll eat all the stuff. You can run the ship here. But all right. So now that we have all these people here and they're ready to watch and listen, and everyone can hear. I do have Mr. Kurt Wadsworth on the phone. And I guess you can go ahead and say hi, Kurt, again.
Hi, everyone, YouTubers.
Hi, everyone. Hi, YouTubers. Can you guys hear him well? Do I need to? Okay, so you guys can hear well? Okay, great. Do you want to just hop right into these? They're all thanking you for coming, Kurt, just so you know.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yep, they're like, hello, Kurt. Thanks for coming. Hi, Kurt. Yep, they're ready to hear from you. So
I thought they all wanted to see me before my travel.
Well, you've been painted in a certain light and nobody's heard from you. So everybody has these preconceived notions of what you are.
Multiple detectives, probably 10 or more, and FBI folks. Yeah, I talk to people that matter, but, it sucks to be slandered by a bunch of people that don't know shit, so whatever.
Exactly.
We'll shit straightened out. I don't know. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. So let's just jump right into the questions. Because we did talk about this before, and I think you're well-spoken. You're a very smart guy, in my opinion. From what I had an enjoyable conversation with you before, this. So, the number one question that people really want to know about is, again, the scratches on Troy's arm.
He rolls he has a three-wheeler. Dangerous as hell, right?
Yep.
Over. Put it on its side, and that's what scratches his arm.
So I hope you guys can hear that. You just got your answer from Kurt. He flipped his four-wheeler, Kurt?
Three-wheeler.
Three-wheeler.
Just kept it on its side, threw him off, and, scratch his arm. There's gravel. The roads are gravel here. When you hit the gravel, you get scratched.
Right. So, and pictures have been taken of this, right?
As far as I know, the detective come take pictures just to clear it all up. But he ain't going to share that with the YouTubers, right?
Right. Right.
For it, to get it cleared up. So.
Right. And if you guys missed it, like when Kurt first came on, he said, I've been talking to the people that matter, meaning the FBI, et cetera, et cetera. And I have to commend him for that. So let's be thankful that he's even coming on and even answering any of our questions, because he does not have to. Okay. Yeah, you don't. So, but I am thankful that you decided to do this. And I do think it's going to give people a very different perspective on you and who you are.
The reason I'm doing this because my daughter vetted you out and let me know that you're not going to, make your phone under the bus for one thing, or people just, ask stupid questions that are meaningless to finding my friend Dylan Rounds.
Exactly. So, and if you guys didn't hear that, he just said, finding my friend Dylan Rounds. And I guess that'll lead into this question, Kurt. Like, how did you see Dylan? Like, how did you view him, like, as a person?
I just a hardworking young kid that had a dream, and I wanted, he asked me to be involved in it, and there's the backhoe operators all in the beginning. I just went out there to dig 1,400 feet of main line and put the line in and backfill it, and I was supposed to be out of there. It just went on since I started last March.
Yeah, and so then Don Don quit, right?
Well, that's only been about a month and a half ago. He didn't. Yeah, he did quit. The only the word is Dylan fired him. No, he just gone and said, I got $20,000, sold some land, and I want to go fishing. I'm kind of tired of this bullshit, and I may be back, but for now, I want to go fishing. So well, I can't make you work, Don. So hope you catch lots of fish. See you later.
Yeah. So Don was just like, bye. I got 20 grand. I'm out. So then all this work, like, more like falls on you a little bit.
All of a sudden I'm picking up what Don was doing. I didn't expect to do that, but all of a sudden Don was calling me every day. Well, can you help me get this equipment there? Help me do this. I need a jack, because Don had a lot of tools. Dylan don't have any tools. I have a lot of tools. So it was constant. Now my tools are being, was over in his program out there, because he didn't have nothing to work with. And that's how I kind of got sucked into it. But, I love what the kid was doing, and I wanted to help him make his dream come true,
Yeah.
I'm more tired. I don't have to work if I don't want to. I do what I want. And so that's how it kind of come down.
Yeah, well, I thought it was funny, like when we were talking earlier, and people are obsessed with this, him sleeping in this camper of yours, and
Well, first camper, it's a motorhome.
it's a motor home, not a camper. Okay.
Yes, it's a motorhome. It's an expensive unit. It ain't no little podunk camper. It's just my second home sometimes. When I want to stay in town, I climb in there and go to bed. But I made it available to him.
Yeah, so he would sleep in this camper sometimes, like when he didn't want to go home, but not with you.
No, we were never staying there together. I wouldn't want to stay there with him. It's too tight.
Well, I thought it was funny earlier when you were like, I would let Dylan stay, but sometimes he's messy.
Yeah.
And I'd have to send him home.
I moved into the damn thing at one point. He had his coffee machine out there, his cup and a plate and a fork and a knife. I'm like, dude, you move in. No refrigeration though. Of course, he had a cooler, and I give him ice all the time. We got an ice machine here, so he was always getting ice. Putting his cooler. He'd buy little tubes of hamburger and stuff. And, sometimes I never seen him do that here. Here he'd buy pizzas in when he went somewhere, say Burley or Idaho Falls. He'd come back with a couple frozen pizzas. Can I put this in the pizza in the freezer? Yeah, sure. And we have a pizza cooker here, so he just got to where he helped himself. He didn't even ask. He just bring a piece in here and throw in the oven and start cooking it. He didn't ask. He just got to make himself at home.
So he's like, we're family now. I'm just coming over and cooking stuff in your thing. You're like playing the dad, like you're too messy. Go home.
Didn't have a problem with it, really. I'm just kind of I'm sitting here watching TV and he's cooking his own meal. I don't have to cook his pizza. He's done it himself, which is great. I'm not his mama.
Right. And speaking of that, we've all been under the misconception, and we talked about this earlier, that Dylan was like on this farm for 3 years, but that's not true, is it?
No, he's been in that area. He worked for another guy for 2 of those years, and then he managed, he had a dream of owning a section of that land out there, and he finally got it done. He had to, work through a lot of stuff. I guess his grandpa helped him do it, and I don't know all the details of that. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But he ended up with, a square mile of land with a well on it, and he was just awesome. He thought he was in seventh heaven.
So a lot of people wanted to know, like, how did Dylan live? How did he have money?
Because he's called a custom farmer, and he does work for other farmers. He has big equipment, balers, swathers, rakes, all that stuff, harrows, tillage equipment like a disc, all that stuff. He has all that stuff, and that's what he done. That's how he got. His grandpa really knew this kid makes money. I can co-sign on this farm, I have to think, and the kid it'll make it right. He just needed somebody to kind of throw, some money out there at him and get the thing bought, and he'll pay it back. He's like that. He don't think the world owes him anything. He wanted to prove to the world he could do something that nobody else could do out there. Because there's been several people try to grow stuff out there, and they've all failed. And Dylan said, I'm going to show them how this is done. So there we go. And I admire him for that, And it's been a lot of hard work on his part, my part, and Don. And we've all been a part of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, another question. People wanted to know if Dylan had a motorcycle.
Yeah. I never seen him ride it because he never ran. He brought it out there. I guess he rode it a couple times and it broke down and it just got parked. And he told me one time, he says, yeah, I really hate riding that motorcycle because every time I ride it, I crash it and it hurts. I'd really just be in my truck.
Yeah, I imagine that would hurt,
I'm a very good rider. I don't know.
And
but he also took it back to Idaho, Rigby, where his parents are at, and took it back up there. It disappeared off the farm out there, so because it didn't run, it needed to be fixed. And I think he took it to get it fixed. So he had something to run back and forth to pivot on, because that's a lot easier to run your truck out there through the field. You've got two little tiny wheels, because otherwise you're running over your crop going out to that center pivot. You have the generator out there to take fuels to it. Stuff,
But you were telling me it's really hard to grow crop on that land, right?
It is, but he's been doing his homework. I don't know, they call these hydrometrists or something like that. These guys that they tell you what acid you got to put on the ground to make the salt go away. It just kind of takes the salt down into the earth and gets it off on the top so something can grow in it. And he paid for fertilizers out there and all kinds of stuff. He's doing it right.
Right.
But that's the area he wants to show people that shit can be grown out here, I mean, it's just criticality, isn't it? He found a barley and wheat last year. And it came up. He was proud about it. It headed out and everything. But he said, I guess Randy talked him into planting this triticale because, dude, it's a one crop thing, but you'll put some money back in your pocket at the end. And that's what he decided to do. Because Randy's about 64. And he's been a farmer all his life. In fact, he has the contract with the Gamble Ranch over here to do all their custom work, right? And he got hooked up with Dylan, and Dylan was happy as hell because, man, they put him to work. He's made last time he told me he had $46,000 coming from the Gamble Ranch, or from Randy, for doing work at the Gamble Ranch. So I was like, wow, it's not all just money in his pocket. He's like, yeah, it's going to help with the payments on my tractors and the piece of equipment they're using. I'm renting it to them, and it's going to eventually break down. I'm have to fix it. But he said, man, this is great. I'm getting some money coming in. I'm getting on top of the world here.
Yeah, so he was really feeling himself there, because that is a lot of money for a 19-year-old,
And I know, and that's the sad part of it. But I don't know how people found out that $33,000 check he got. Somehow the whole town knew. I don't know how that happened. I just don't know, but everybody knew. And it's sad because these freaking meth heads out here, boy, they think a 19-year-old gets to handle that kind of money. Like, who is this kid? Who is this kid? I've never had a $3,000 check in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. A $33,000 check. I'd like to see one of them.
But it never excited me because I knew what was all involved. Fuel involved. There's a lot of shit involved, Tractor, $100,000 tractor and a $50,000 piece of equipment behind it. And, there's seed involved. There's just a lot involved. That ain't just all profit. There ain't no way.
Right. No so all that money just wasn't going in his pocket. It was going back into his farm.
Yes. Well, back into the fuel. I had to go back into more fuel for the next job and, make the payments on his tractors. And, he had tire problems. He spent probably $4,000 or $5,000 in tires in the last 3 months.
Wow.
The tire equipment just started going to hell, and it was just a constant thing. He was constantly running the bird to buy tires. So, it wasn't like he had them on hand. He had to make a special trip. That machine, if he's broke down on a road somewhere, out in the he's got to, come pick me up to go, because, I'm following him. We get a flat tire. We have no way to fix it. The tire is totally waste. So it's like we go back to town. Then he heads out, goes to work. He might stay the night over there sometimes. He might come back late at night. But
So he kind of did what he wanted, Sounds like.
Well, he knew it had to get done. This shit, he can't just go, I'll do it tomorrow. No, he knew that tire, because his equipment's sitting in the middle of nowhere. That kind of played hard in. Somebody could sabotage it, break the windows out of a tractor or something. And he's like, hey, you don't want it there any longer. It has to be. Because there's a lot of, worthless people out here that just don't respect other people's property. And he knew that. So the sooner it got out of the situation and got back on the road, the better. And he'd just make a highball trip to wherever he could. Maybe, sometimes it's been a better tire. You start calling around, you got a tire, this tire, blah, blah. And he would all ask to get it and be accurate. So
what was the next question I was going to ask you? Oh, everybody wants to know, and I have already answered this like in other live streams that I did, but everyone wants to know why you called the family and said that Dylan was being held captive. And just so you know, Christy did send me emails, and I did read them aloud. So not exactly a secret, but
that came through. My ex-wife called a psychic, right? So there's two people, right? And my daughter related to me, my daughter Keisha. She's the one that asked her mother to do this, okay? Because she has faith in the psychic thing. I've never dealt with it before. But she goes, Dad, let's just see what they come up with. We're 8-9 days into this. They haven't found nothing. Let's see what the psychic comes up with. She's pretty good. So that story got passed from the psychic to my ex-wife to my daughter to me. So it went through 4 heads at that point, right? Or 3, at least 3. You know how stories get changed.
Yeah, anyway, it's like playing telephone.
I did not say that he was being held. I did not know that. I said it's a possibility because the psychic said he is being held. He is alive. And that made me ecstatic. I thought, my God, he's alive. Time is of the essence here. We need to get on this shit. Because I'm like, what could the conditions be? It's 8-9 days into this, right? The kid be held in a cage or in a horse trailer or something, shitting himself, and they're throwing food to the side of it and throw a jug of water in him once to keep him last alive, right? That's what I'm thinking. It can't be good. It can't be good to hold somebody captive. How do you do? Dylan, that'd be like holding on to a mad dog, because he would fight. If he got a chance to run away, he would. So how they're holding him, in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't know how they're doing this, but I was just glad that she said he was alive, and that made me just happy as hell, thinking, my God, this kid's not dead. He's alive. We need to move fast on this, as fast as we can. Get your ass to Montello. They kicked over the sagebrush. Every sagebrush over there was in. And I said, are you going to talk to the sagebrush some more out there? Or are you going to get your ass to Montello and talk to the people that know Chase, who everybody suspects did this.
Yep.
And this little shit in town called Robert Aviles, or Aviles, he was involved. He admitted that. Because they went, I said, I don't know where Chase is. I had no clue where Chase was at the time, but I knew where Robert was. My brother was sitting over there watching. We seen him outside. I said, you stay right here. I'm going to get his parents here, and we're going to get the cops here, and they're going to roll this little bastard, find out what he knows about this. Because he did admit to him that he took Chase to the sin. And they had no business out there. None. So I was like, wow, we were going to find Dylan today. That was I thought we were going to find him today. But 6 cops went up, 3 highway patrol and 3 sheriffs went over there like they're going to meet up with the cavalry over there. And the mother told come out, talk to my brother. He's sitting out in front of the house watching it, right? She came out and said, well, Robert said, I don't know why you're watching my house. And he said, well, we got a missing person, and we don't know if it's Robert or who it is. I just want to know if Robert's there. Oh, he's in the house. He doesn't feel good. And she said, she said, there's cops in town, huh? And he said, yeah. Can they come over here? She goes, oh, yeah. They can go talk to Robert. They can go right back to his bedroom and talk to him. So there was no threat. She's going to let him through the door. They don't have to knock the door in or nothing, right? And he came over here and told them that what she said. You guys, you don't, one of you go. You don't need 6 of you. Don't go over there like the National Guard's coming down this place. One guy over there and walk through the house and ask this kid some questions, yeah?
Yeah.
But the way it went, they went over there, all 6 of them pulled up, lights flashing, all the bullshit. Probably scared the hell out of the kid, but he didn't run. Normally he runs some shit like that, but he didn't run. He stayed there. And they actually went, and Yvette said, well, you can look through my house. And they said, well, we think, this missing person can be in here. So then she said, well, and they cut locks off. They went and they looked in everything. So it didn't matter. So that cleared it. Dylan wasn't there for sure. That's for damn sure. But I could think of 4 or 5 other places they get me help. So I started turning them on to that. So
I do have to ask you, and I didn't ask you on the phone earlier, but the PI keeps bringing up this building that only you have the keys to. Dylan might be locked in there or something. I don't know. But
Troy caretakes that building for Ron Tello. It's next to the Cowboy.
okay.
And Troy does have the keys because he's the caretaker of it. I don't know for sure. But what does that have to do with anything? I don't know. Does that have to do with find Dylan? Do you think Dylan's over there? I don't think so.
Yeah, people have asked these questions, so I think it's best that you answer them because you have the answers, not me. So
I'm in a shithole, okay? And that wasn't a shithole part of this. This has become a shit. I want to leave. It's insane. People follow me every day. I can't live my life. I haven't worked in 35 days since this started. I can't work because I can't think about work. I only think about finding Dylan and trying to figure out what the hell happened to this poor kid. He didn't deserve this. He did not.
Yeah,
It's to my core that some piece of shit in this world has done this to him. And I just pray to God that the piece of shit didn't have the wherewithal to actually put a bullet in his head or beat him to death. He's actually alive. That's what I hope for.
I do too. I mean, I think, with you being his friend, and I don't want to sound, crass, but the odds are looking slim. But there's still always hope. So
if I'm the only one who has a hope, fine. Because I'm religious and I believe God decides when you leave this earth, not some retard with a gun in his hand or a knife or whatever. So I still believe Dylan's still alive. Otherwise, there's no sense of talking about it. There's just I wouldn't even be here if I didn't think he's alive. I would not. I'm wasting my breath because I want to be. If he's gone, he's in a better place in this fucking world. So
I hear you, and I hear the emotion in your voice. It's hard. I mean, I can imagine how this is for you. I mean, how often did you see Dylan? We did talk about that, but
depending, because in the winter months I didn't see him much. He was going snowmobiling and stuff. He'd call me all the time. Yeah, because I give him a snowmobile. He goes, yeah, I got your snowmobile running, man. I love this thing, blah blah. And he'd take pictures and stuff and send them to me. But he wasn't here in the winter. There's nothing to do. We couldn't do anything with snow on the ground. Right. But as soon as the snow went away and the mud went away, it was like assholes and elbows. We got to get shit done. Now we got to get out there and blah blah blah. Get this main line that's finished up and get the water flowing. And I understood that. And he tried to drive me like kind of hard that way. He's like, well, you got to be here today. I said, is the wind blowing out there? Yeah. Well, I'm not coming then, Dylan. Why? Because I'm not going to work. I've done it a couple of times where you go out there in a fucking dust storm and, I can't even see what I'm doing. The dust's so bad out there. I'm sure anybody that's been out there understands that. But I just told him, I said, no, there's always tomorrow. But I'm a farmer. I only got so much time. I said, it'll work out, dude. Just come on. Just have faith. It'll work out. Just don't, push me because I'm not going to come out there and work in the windstorm. I'm not going to do it. No more. I've done it a couple times. It's done. I'm done with that program. If you tell me the wind's not blowing, I'm on my way. But when you tell me it's blowing, you can lie to me, I guess. It's not blowing. It just came up.
People are asking in the chat how you met Dylan.
I met him through another, he worked for another farmer out there that tried to do the same thing Dylan's doing right now. He worked out there for almost 4 years. This guy tried to do what Dylan's getting done. And Dylan originally worked for him. And that's how I met Dylan at 17. He was a welder for this guy. He done a lot of welding on equipment that was broken and stuff. And I was a handyman. I done all the wrenching on tractors, changed the oil, that kind of stuff. And, done electrical work because he was putting a trailer park out there. Just, odd jobs like that. But that's how I met Dylan. I told him when I seen his talent and his ambition, I said, dude, you need to get the hell out of here. Because this guy doesn't pay very well. And he goes, well, I'm kind of, I like this place. And, I'm thinking about, I'm trying to look for a place to do a pig farm. And he goes, man, I think out here would be perfect because nobody's going to bitch about the smell and all the stuff that goes on the pig farm. I said, well, okay, I get it then. Okay. So that's why you're here. It's not because this guy's paying you good money, obviously.
Right.
Because a welder usually makes $30, $40 an hour. And this kid, he was a good welder. Dylan was damn good at welding. And he was proud. He'd always look at that. I'm like, yeah, I can't weld like that. Mine looks like chicken shit, dude. You're good.
Yeah, you said that he was pretty skilled, like for his age. He was really skilled. So
Amazingly skilled. Really, he knew a lot about a lot of different things, and it kind of blew me away. At 19, all the stuff he knew. I don't know where he learned that from, his grandpa or his dad or whoever. I don't know, but I have to think at about 17, he has his own business.
Everybody's so curious about this militia group, Kurt.
Oh, we got to go into that, huh?
Yeah, I just,
The thing is a bunch of fabricated bullshit. So I need to say any more?
Nope.
We all follow the tweakers around. When they're moving, they're up to no good because they don't have jobs. They're not going to a job. They're going to scope out somebody's property they're going to rip off that night. So when we see them moving, we move and try to find them. That's what they're up to. Whose place they're going to hit that night. Is that called militia? I don't think so.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you're policing your
it's
properties.
Called neighborhood watch because several times they've asked me, why are you following me? Because did you see that sign down in town down there? What does it say? Neighborhood watch. That we're all watching each other's property. And I caretake probably 15 properties out here for people. Because they trust me. They know I'm not going to take their shit, but I'm going to keep it on. When I go there, I take pictures. And I say, yeah, everything's good. Here's a picture. And they're glad to hear that because I have properties that I have to go to myself and wonder if I'm going to find a mess or I'm going to find my place is all still locked up. It's all good. Every time I go, it's almost like torture because I'm thinking, man, I've been there for a week. I just pray to God I'm going to find everything in order. And it has been. Thank God. But some of the other places, I see other people go to their place, locks broke off. Somebody's been in their place. All I can do is take a picture of it, call them, and say, what do you want to do? You want to report this to sheriff? Well, what's missing? Well, I don't know what you had. I've never been in your house. The locks broke off. I don't know what you had. You got to come here and you got to figure out what they took. And, if you had some guns or something here, well, no, I didn't rent no guns there. Well, they have to take $1,500 worth of stuff for it really to even matter to cops. So
if it's under $1,500, the cops are like, yeah, we're not coming out.
Right. And usually the people just say, well, can you put get my place locked back up again and call it good. And, maybe take some pictures inside. They scramble the place. Oh, yeah, they always do that. They scramble. They just take drawers and dump them over. And they make a big mess and they take what they want and they leave.
Yeah, so it really was kind of up to you guys to protect your stuff.
That kind of pissed me off because they've never hit me. Not yet. But believe me, I can think of 4 or 5 places that I caretake. They have hit and they've hit them hard. They took everything they own because they just keep coming back. And I tell you, we need to get camera there. Will you buy a game cam? I'll put it up and hook to my phone. And if I see something, I'm going to be right there, Johnny, on the spot with a sheriff a sheriff on his way.
Yep.
Try to get on their tail and follow them because I knew they were there. All I got to do is get on their ass and follow them and get the sheriff up their ass and prove they weren't there, which is impossible.
Well, speaking of missing items, did Dylan have any missing big items that you're aware of?
No, not to my knowledge.
No.
Everything was. I was there Tuesday, I mean, his parents showed up on Monday, which is Memorial Day weekend, or Memorial Day, and Tuesday they called me out there because they wanted to drain the pond. Because they just to ease their mind that, you know, he wasn't in there, maybe his cell phone was in there, his wall or something, you know. Somebody threw it in there. So I went out there and they ended up pumping the pond rather than, you know, digging a trench to drain it.
Really?
But I stopped doing backhoe work because the water wanted to run back in the pond. So I had to build a dam, you know, over the pump hoses that were pumping it away, and kind of, when it would start to come around the end, I'd have to put another scoop of dirt at the end of it and kind of get it away, keep it away from running back in the pond. But it took them all day long to pump that thing dry.
So they did clear out that pond of his, so just check for him, I guess.
Yeah, it was his grandpa. That was his grandpa. It eased his mind. He was the one that wanted to do it, and everybody just kind of went along. Okay, Grandpa, we'll pump it. We didn't. I told him, I said, I'll take my shoes off and I'll walk through that thing and kick around. If there's something in there, I'm going to kick it. You know, because it's only like 6 feet. But he said, no, I'm going to pump it. I said, okay, well, you know, I can't argue with Grandpa.
Yeah, I can't argue with Dylan's grandpa. So people wanted to know, why was Dylan planning so late in the year?
My phone started. Oh, no. Oh, crap. Oh, there we go. I thought it hung up. I hear it start breaking up. Are you there then?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I was breaking up on my end, so I hit my speaker button. After we reset it, it usually straightens out. So anyway, what was the question again?
Why was Dylan planting so late in the year?
Not because he wanted to, believe me. He was freaking out about that. But he was doing work for 2 other ranches and trying to get their work done so he, you know, and he put some money in his pocket so he could buy his seed and his fertilizer and, you know, things he needed to fuel to make, you know, his world go around out there. He needed that dough. He didn't, you know, his crop ain't going to be worth nothing. I mean, it wouldn't amount to a hill of beans. But it's all about proving that he can grow something out there. He knew he's not going to make no money. That's, you know, the money's going to come from the side business, right? Which is the custom farming. That's what he called it. Dylan's custom farming. So.
Oh, really? Oh, so that's oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
So it just so happened to work out that he felt like he was only a week late getting his plan. He goes, man, and it's going to rain. He said, man, as soon as I get this in the ground, it's going to rain. It's going to be beautiful. He was just happy as hell the way it kind of turned out. Would have been burning fuel prior to that. If he'd have put that, the minute he gets the seed in the ground, he's got to start running a sprinkler, which would have been, you know, if he'd have done what he wanted to, he'd have had to put water on that for a week prior to that. But because he was a week late, and then here comes the rain, he was like, what a beautiful thing. I said, yeah, I think maybe that isn't Luciferville. Somebody's looking over you a little bit out there.
Yeah. So next question, I guess, is the fight with Chase Venstra. Are you the one that beat up Chase?
I would have loved to, but I never got the opportunity.
You said you would have loved to, and then what?
Well, if I got to beat on him, he'd never go home. That's how much I hate that worthless piece of shit. I mean, the guy was he's an evil, worthless person. Very talented. That guy, he could sing, he could play the guitar, the fiddle, the banjo, drums, and fix anything. He was a mechanic, he was a tree trimmer. I mean, so talented, it was amazing. He threw it all away over drugs. It's sickening that somebody with all those talents would just throw them away. But he did. That's all he cared. When he first came here, he didn't have the wherefore. He didn't know where to get the drugs when he first came here. But pretty soon, them tweakers, they seek you out. And they're like, you look like a tweaker. You need some? We'll give it to you for a while. But as soon as you go there, you got to start paying for it. And that's what they do. They get you on that shit. And then pretty soon, you can't live without it.
How long have you known Chase? Has it been a long time, or?
Probably a year and a half, probably something like that. A year and 4 or 5 months.
So has he like always come to Montella, or is he like new in the area, sort of?
New when he first came here. We didn't know. We
So
didn't
he
know
just
him.
kind of showed up.
He kind of rolled into town and come to the Cowboy Bar, and we needed some money. He said, I need some money. I got a bunch of tools in my truck I need to part with and get some money in my pocket. And but the sad part of it is they were all new tools in the boxes. Well, I never put two and two together with that. He had a story though. He said, I worked with this guy, doing some welding for him, and he asked me if I wanted cash or I wanted to take these tools. And I could see I could sell these tools for more than he owed me. So I took the tools. And that was a story, and I bought it. But I realized now that I had them in a lie. Those tools were stolen from probably a hardware store or something. Because I mean, he had chainsaws and all cordless stuff, cordless drills like Rigid and Bosch, and I mean, you could pick your brand. He had it all. Pickup load of that stuff. And
Yeah, because from what I'm understanding, like Chase and Robert, were like two little thieves in a pod.
but they hooked up way down the road. I mean, probably because Robert was in jail when Chase came here.
Okay.
So, but when Robert got out, I mean, Chase started. I seen him start. I thought, I kind of questioned him on the tweaker thing. I said, "You ever done meth before?" Oh no. Well, and then he says, "Yeah, I have. Me and my wife got into that. I used to work on pipelines, and that's how I lost my job. And I used to make $150,000 a year. I got canned from that. They blackballed me because I guess he was in the union or something. That's what he said. But he said, yeah, they blackballed me. I can't even get a job with the union no more because me and my wife got into meth. But he said, well, I don't do it no more. Oh no, I don't do it no more. And I believed him. And he probably didn't because he didn't have the money to do it. But as soon as he got some money in his pocket, oh boy, here we go.
He'd be on a binge, a methed up binge. I gotta ask the $1 million question, Kurt, because they all want to know this. Are you a drag queen? Do you wear makeup?
Well, if I am, I don't know.
I love how you just start laughing as soon as I ask you that question.
Must be my other life that I don't know about.
Your other life you don't know about?
Yeah, I don't know about. Somebody knows evidently, but not me.
Yeah.
I would like to see a picture or somebody that actually see me dressed in. Where's that person at? I mean, only Dylan somehow knows that, but whatever. That's a bunch of made up bullshit. And whatever. It's called freedom of speech, right? I could call him queer or a drag queen.
You could. You could tell people that you've seen him eating cookies and his lips were red, or he might have been wearing makeup. We're not sure. You could see. Yeah, I mean, that's what he said about you. So
I'd call Dylan and they'd be true. So whatever. But no, we're not going to go there. I don't need to slander other people.
Yep, you're right.
I can deal with it. I'll deal with it because especially when it's bullshit. If I said anything about him, it'd be true because that's the way I am. I don't spew shit to people. If I know it and somebody asks, I'm going to tell them exactly what I know, and that's who I am. And people hate me for that. But oh well, I don't talk shit.
Yeah, I mean, when I talked to you earlier, like you're just like sort of a straight shooter. I mean, you just anything I asked you, no hesitation, just right out there. So
I am only what I wish other people would be. Because I hate people that lie and just make shit up. It just gets my goat.
Yeah.
I want to be that person because I know how it pisses me off. And I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm like, yeah, if you're that kind of person, I distance myself as far as I can from them because I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be associated with somebody like that because my old saying is, like with the tweakers here, right? For the methods, birds of a feather hang together. So I separate myself from people that I cannot stand, and I would never want to be like they are because I hate evil people. If their God is saying, well, have your way, but my God's another God, and I'm not going to hang out with people like that because they live in a different world than I live in, totally different world. And I can't change, tell them how they're going to live their life. I just need to stay away.
Hang on a second, Kurt. Doug and the rest of you, I don't know if you heard my live stream this morning, but I did say that I'm not going to have you guys in here doing this. So if you can't be respectful of my chat, then leave. Okay? So there's that. Go ahead, Kurt.
So
Sorry.
Don who? It ain't Don Hadley.
No, not Don. I see people, laughing and cutting it up, and they think this is a big joke. And it's not. So, if you can't be respectful of my guests or my show, then get off my panel. Get out of my chat. Don't be here. So it just kind of irritates me. You get an opportunity to hear from someone who you've all wanted to hear from, but they want to do this whole joking, making fun of, da 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 da, and I'm just not going to tolerate that.
They're evil people. I understand those people. Believe me, 100%. That's what evil does. They like to taunt the truth. They hate the truth because they're evil. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
That's their world. They got to live in it, and they're gonna have to live in it for a long time, and that's or whatever. I choose not to live in that world. Don't want nothing to do with it because it's a dead end road, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. Yeah, I hear you. And another question that people had was, who did Dylan hang out with? Which I think it's obvious that you were a person that he did.
Yeah. Well, what's hanging out? I'm not sure.
Hanging out, I guess, associated with, like, who were his friends, basically?
Ours was a working situation, really. I mean, we got to be great friends. We talk a lot and talk about different things, and I guess that's what hanging out is. I made it welcome to. A lot of times you couldn't get anything to eat at Cowboy. For months you couldn't get nothing to eat out except a pizza. And if my mother was in the bar, she didn't want to cook pizzas. She can't, multitask, cook pizza and bartend at the same time. She didn't want to. And a lot of times she'd see School Dylan's down here, he wants a pizza. So I go down and I go and cook it for him, right? But I got tired of that. Just like, what's in it? I don't know, a couple bucks, tip, whatever. But pretty soon I just said, Dylan, let's just take the pizza down to the Cowboy or down to South Shore. There's a pizza oven down there. Well, then you can cook your own pizza, okay?
I'm not cooking for you, kid, okay?
I'm not your mama. I'll watch TV and you cook your pizza, okay? It's a lot more fun that way because he's doing his own thing. He's in the back here. He'd come out here, suck on the soda a little bit, go back there and turn the pizza or whatever you want to do to it, put some more stuff on it, He got any cheese, extra cheese, cheese in the refrigerator, help yourself to it, whatever, because that's the way I'm. A pizza, I want to spruce it up a little bit, so put some extra mushroom, if I have the goodies for it, some tomatoes or something, And he just thought that was the coolest thing. To be able to come here and cook his own pizza, hang out for a while, and if it got late or something, I'd say, well, what are you doing tomorrow? Well, I got to go to Birdie tomorrow. Well, why don't you do you need to go back to the farm? No. I said, well, why don't you just stay here? That's kind of stupid to drive clear out there to sleep in your dirty ass trailer that's full of sand when you can stay in my motorhome and get up in the morning and just go from here to Birdie, because that would have added 62 miles to his drive. Because it's 32 miles from here to his farm. So he drive clear out there, and then he has to come back to the highway in order to go to Birdie. So a lot of times I'd just say, well, you're welcome to stay here. I wouldn't want to go clear out there just to lay my head down for a couple hours and add 65 miles to my trip. Hell with that. And he always appreciated it. I know he did. He never said it, but I know he did.
Yeah, I mean, of course he did. If you're saving him, you're saving him money. I mean, gas prices are through the roof right now.
Fine, because he liked to sleep in. That kid loved to sleep in.
Kurt, people are wanting to know if you have searched for Dylan.
Oh, my hell. I have put like 600 miles on my motorcycle, and I probably went at least 200 miles with other people riding in their vehicles.
Didn't you at one point search with Justin, with Dylan's dad?
No.
No?
Say that.
Okay.
Never invited me to, so. Yeah, he'd have been way ahead of the ball game if he would have. Because, I know this country. I've lived here for 35 years. They knew nothing when they came. I mean, they hadn't even been to Dylan's farm until this happened.
Yeah, Candace and Justin had never been to Dylan's farm prior to him missing, right?
Nope. Sure, Grandpa had to show them where it was at. They had no clue how to get there.
So his grandpa had come out there and helped him, but not his parents.
His grandpa's name's Larry. He's a great guy, hard worker. That guy can outwork me. He's amazing. gets on the shovel. And Dylan says, well, my grandpa, he's on a shovel all the time because he flood irrigates his property. So he loves to get a shovel in his hands. Well, good for him, because I hate shovels.
That's why you have a backup.
Yeah, I got a hydraulic shovel.
Yeah, well, that was going to lead me to my next question, because people just wanted to know, like, exactly what kind of work you were doing for him. But
well, it started out just as a job. I was just supposed to go out there and dig the line because Don worked for him. I didn't want to get in that, really, all that other stuff that went on out there. I didn't want to, feel and stuff, and I just wanted to do it. I wanted to go dig the trench, and I charged him so much a foot to do that, and get on to other jobs, because it really killed me out there on my backhoe. It's been there for almost a year out there, just because we put the main line in, and we didn't get it backfilled in time for it rained, and it floated and broke a bunch of bells, and it's costing a lot of money, probably $4,000 or $5,000 to fix what cost $36,000 to start with. But it was his call. That's when me and Donnie reminded him that, Dylan, we tried to tell you we just need to pump that full of water, and it won't float. And he knew that, but he didn't want to pump it full of water because he had to pump it out, because that was about October. October was coming up, and it starts getting cold. He was afraid it was going to freeze and break it. We're like, no way, Dylan, that's months down, right? You can't freeze 10 inches of water in 2 or 3 nights. Once this rainstorm stops, Kurt can get to backfilling it, and we'll pump it out for the winter. No big deal. The pump does all the work. What are you worried about? I don't know what his problem is. I still don't get it. But that's
and Dylan, as far as you know, was not involved with any drugs.
Hell no.
No.
No way.
And you've seen him enough to know that or not know that.
But I would check, and if I did check that, and like I say, if I did check that he was gay at some point, I would have cut my ties with him in a heartbeat. I don't go down that road.
Can we talk about this just for a minute, because people feel different ways. So I know that you are of Mormon faith. So that's kind of a no for you, so yeah, because there's nothing wrong. And we did talk about this earlier before we even came on this live stream, where you even said before I did, you were like, I don't care who's gay, but that's just like not for me.
Right. I'm just not going to hang around people like that. I don't, because my old saying, birds of a feather hang together. I don't want people accuse me, because if you hang with somebody gay, obviously you're probably going to be gay too, wouldn't you think? I don't know. I mean,
well, it doesn't exactly work like that, but
I don't want to be associated with it. I just don't. No way. I wouldn't want. I just. Of course, our relationship should have ended a long time ago. Really. I mean, as far we wouldn't have, because of what happened out there with the line breaking and stuff. It just drug on and on and on. And I go out there and we dig up a spot. I make $100. Cost me. I have to drive 65 miles on my motorcycle to work for 1 hour. I make $100, and it takes 2 hours of my time to go there and back. And I told him, this really sucks. I mean, when's this ever going to end? I don't know, but it's got to get fixed. I'm like, okay, well. And I kept saying, I got to get my backhoe out of here. I got to get it out of here. I'm not making enough money out here to justify it being here. I'm missing out on lots of work. But I let it keep going on and going on, because we're thinking, tomorrow will be done. And then we fire this line up, and it's got another week. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go. Now he's got to run to Bernie and get another patch, and I got to dig this up and go back home and come back tomorrow. And it was insane. But
just so we're clear, hang on a second, Kurt. Just so we're clear, what he's talking about right now is that, Dylan sort of asked him to help out, and he said yes. But it turned into a lot more than what Kurt thought it was going to be. That's what he's talking about right now. Okay. So yeah, because I see people in the chat asking, they keep wanting to know how this relationship with Dylan started, and we addressed that, but I guess this isn't clear enough for them. Kurt met Dylan through Ed Hirschberg. He owned the farm prior to Dylan. This is how he met him. Okay. Correct, Kurt?
Did they miss that part or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess they have. They're not listening. They think that you're interviewing me. So yeah, whatever. I mean, I talked to you about this before we went on that, people are gonna pick apart every last thing you say, of course.
That's what we didn't want to do this, but between you and my daughter convinced me to do it to kind of shut up a bunch of retards like that PI that has nothing right. You don't even know his name. He started calling me Kurt Ventra.
I think I did hear him say that one time.
Well, it wasn't him calling me that. He called him Kurt Wadsworth. But the other guy in green kept calling. He called me Kurt Ventra, and he never corrected him one time through the whole program for at least 15 times. He called the guy like you interviewing him called me Kurt Ventra. And he never once, that retard, James, not once corrected him. I was like, this guy's retarded. They're both retarded. They can't even get the name straight, let alone the storyline. So whatever. Who are these people? They've never been here. They don't know me. They don't know Dylan. They don't know anything. They're making this shit up out of thin air. And it makes my blood boil when people do such stupid shit and destroy people's lives. This town will never be the same after this shit. It'll never be the same.
Probably not, to be honest with you.
The retards that think they know shit and they don't know nothing about anything.
If you could just watch that word, Kurt.
What's one?
The R word.
Retard?
Yeah. It's
what's a better one? I don't know.
Maybe idiot. Idiot will work. Imbecile will work. But yeah, so I'm glad that you came on here. I'm glad that you spoke. People keep thinking that you're in hiding and all this kind of stuff, and that's not the case.
I said I've talked to people that matter. You don't matter, really.
No, I don't, and that's factual. I really don't. You did not have to come on here. You didn't have to talk to anyone. You didn't have to do any of this. So
we'll see where this goes. We'll see if it even gets worse. It could get worse because I know how evil people are. They can take the truth and turn it into a heap of shit.
A shit show? Yeah.
I deal with people that all the time. And I know how they are. These tweakers, they're great actors out here. They're the actors of the world.
Can we talk about the polygraph test?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to take one.
He can't wait to take one. And didn't someone offer you $10,000 to go take one?
James, my daughter told me that James offered that. I'm like, really? Let's get on that. I can't wait.
So if you guys are wondering, let me stop you right there, Kurt. If you guys are wondering why, when Troy was on No Thanks Investigates on that phone call that he didn't know he was on, and when he was saying, I'm going to bury him, I want my 10,000. Allegedly, Jim Terry told them, if you guys go take a polygraph, I'll pay for it. I'll send out, I'll give you 10 grand. I'll send out a limo. So Kurt's over here like, yeah, let's do it. Let's get in let's do it. Let's get in a limo and go for it.
I haven't made that kind of money even on the Dylan job. I made $5,000-$6,000 on Dylan job. So 10 sounds really good. Especially
10 sounds great.
It sounds great. I can't wait to do it. But I know he's a piece of shit and it ain't gonna happen.
Oh, Jim is in the chat. I'm not gonna bring him up here, but he's saying pass the test, not take it. Pass it.
Whatever. Well, let's go. I can't wait, Jimmy boy. Let's go.
He's ready to do it. He wants to take the polygraph. And if you guys want me to be honest with you, I told him not to, because they're not admissible in court. They don't stand up, and things can throw off a polygraph. And you guys should know that. So,
well, they can't pin Dylan's special event on me, so it doesn't matter. It's all about finding Dylan, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so how could it go awry? I don't know. I have the best alibi of anybody. My daughters were here, and their friends, 10 other people were here all weekend.
Because you guys, this is something that people don't know. You guys had a family get together in Montello on Memorial Day weekend.
It lasted from Wednesday to Monday. So, when did Dylan come up missing? I believe it was sometime on Saturday.
Dylan went missing on Saturday. Yes.
Well, that's as far as we know.
Yeah.
That seat truck got down to that building, and that's the only. If that wouldn't have got there, we would have no sense of when he'd come missing. But at some point, that got down there, and that's where things kind of went awry. At some point, I don't know what happened there, but it obviously wasn't good.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's really been ground zero for me. Like when I look at this case, I feel like something happened at that grain shed.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah.
That's where it happened. I don't think he ever made it back to his farm, which was
I don't
5
think
miles
so
away.
either.
He never got back there. Somebody abducted him or whacked him right there and hauled him off to somewhere. And, I don't know. I hate to think that. I really think they're being held. He's being held. I pray to God that's what's happened. The kid don't deserve to die. He just don't.
And who would have any motive to do this to him? Like,
oh, okay, here we go. Well, for sure, because Chase has nothing, and they heard about this $30,000 check. And how ironic that Dylan stumbles into this goofball, Chase Ventura, on the road from his farm to Montello. He jumped out in front of me. Dylan told me a story. He goes, man, this guy jumps out in front of me, and guess who it was? I'm like, who? Chase. I mean, you're kidding. What the hell is he doing out there? I don't know. He had one boot on, a t-shirt wrapped or a sweatshirt wrapped around one foot, and his face was all scratched up. And he asked me, he goes, you got anything to drink? Dylan's like, well, I scrambled around. I found a soda Coke laying in my seat, warm Coke, and handed it to him. He popped the top on, took a cigarette, and swig of it, and he says, can you hear that? And Dylan's like, hear what? My daughter's, she's calling my name. I've been looking for her for hours. I can't find her. I was like, what? And Dylan's like, what? Your kids aren't, I don't believe your kids are out here. Are they? They're not here. He goes, well, yeah, they're all three here. But I hear my daughter the most. She's the one calling my name the most, and I can't find her. And he says, I've lost my gun. I laid my gun down. I can't find my gun, and I can't find my motorhome.
So it sounds like he was tweaked out, basically.
Well, I think it's more than tweak. I think he's on something worse than that. Because tweakers, they just make some. I don't know what do you call it. I don't know. They're just ambitious, I guess. But if they can stay up for hours now, that's what I understand about shit. I would never do it, but I just talk to people. What the high is of that shit. But anyway, Dylan said, me and Dylan talked about Chase. I said, man, if you ever see this guy or he ever wants to drop something, run from him because he's just bad news. And he goes, well, I already heard that from Randy. Randy already told me about him because Randy, which is a guy that Dylan was doing work for, Randy already warned me about him, that he's just bad news. He's on meth and he stole a bunch of fuel from me and broke a couple of my tractors and had a woman out there on a tractor. My insurance don't cover that kind of stuff. As soon as Randy found that out, he fired him.
So this is Chase doing all this stuff.
Yep. He had a good job.
And is this the only reason that you don't like Chase? Like, is there like a long-standing Hatfield and McCoy type thing, or you guys just don't like him because he's a thief?
When I realized he was stealing shit out here, he would come to my place and get water. Like, I invited him. I told him he could go stay at my place if he wanted. Well, that would have been I'm glad he didn't take me up on that offer. And that probably the reason why, because he knew he couldn't keep his fingers off my stuff. And it'd turn out bad, right? But he would come and get water almost every day. Him and his kids were here back then. They'd come over every morning and get water. Just, milk bottles full of water, like 5 or 6 gallons of water, because he had like 5 big dogs and 3 kids here with him.
When's the last time you seen Dylan alive, Kurt?
I believe on Friday.
On Friday, so that would have been the 27th.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that because my birthday's on the 28th. That's what caught my eye with Dylan's case. He went missing on my birthday.
No, on
So
Saturday.
yeah, Saturday's May 28th. That's my birthday.
Yeah, he called his grandma. See that. Otherwise, I would have been the last one, to see him. Or see him, but I saw him. Me and my daughter both saw him right here in front of the house. Sir, he stopped by, said he was going. He had to go out and check the pivot. He wanted to go out the dams, and he had to go to the store and get some grub. And I asked him to dig that receipt up because a time warning, But we're kind of talking about, was it 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock? Because it was kind of a weird day. We kind of got up late that day because it was kind of looked like it was going to rain. Didn't know if we were going to go riding or not. So
and you guys at this point, on the 27th on Friday, your family's all in town because you guys are having this Memorial Day, thing.
Yeah, we just come out here and go riding, But it was a rainy weekend. It kind of screwed up. We only went riding like one day, Saturday. Really, it was the only day we really got to go riding.
And when you say we got up late, who do you mean?
Well, my daughter and her husband and her kids, and they had like 6 or 7 friends here.
Yeah, because I think I heard it was like about 15 people or so.
Yeah, it was 15 somewhere. I don't know. I didn't count, but it'd be close to that, close to 15.
Yeah, so there was quite a few people that were there. Saw you, saw your brother, saw Dylan, and then Dylan goes missing on maybe the morning of the 28th.
Right. We don't know for sure that timeline, other than what his story that he left. Because it's kind of weird. How ironic that Jim is gone. He's there all the time.
That's what I'm thinking. Why didn't Jim sound the alarm to Dylan's grandmother? When Dylan's grandmother called and Jim told her not to worry about, not to worry, but then Dylan still doesn't show up for 2 more days, and she's the one, along with his friend, that sounds the alarm that he's missing. Why didn't Jim do that?
Well, I don't know. I talked to Jim about that because he said he was gone from like 1 o'clock till 5 o'clock, right? So, and when he said when he got back, the truck was parked in the building. He didn't even know Dylan was bringing it. That's his story, right? I kind of find that a little shady because the gate's locked, right? Jim has the key to the gate. So Jim has to come down and open the gate for Dylan again. Well, Dylan, when he got there, I think he tried to call. Jim says no, he didn't. But whatever. That don't make any sense to me. Because Dylan would have known if he don't get a hold of Jim, now he's got to undo each line of barbed wire and drop it on the ground or get in there, from where it's, because they're locked on where you drop the gate, or the other side it's tied around a post down there with just barbed wire. You can undo it if you want to go through all the time and deal with the barbed wire with bare hands. It kind of sucks, but he did it. He had to because Jim wasn't there. Supposedly Jim wasn't there. I don't know. I wasn't there, but that's the story.
Do you usually find Jim to be like a truthful person? No.
Jim lived for a year. I put him up for a year because his trailer burned down when he first come here. He lived with me for a year. So I know he's a lazy person, but as far as that goes, he's trying to get. He claimed he had bad ankles and stuff, and I just thought, that he was hoping to get Social Security or disability at some point, and he finally got it. Which hallelujah. But Ed is the one that put him out there on that place as kind of a watchdog because they had a lot of equipment. They had tractors there.
So Jim was the guy that owned Dylan's farm prior. He was his friend.
No, Jim didn't do anything other than a little camp trailer and a pickup and a dog and a horse.
Well, when you said that Ed put him out there as a watchdog,
right? Because Ed just had the place under contract. He was leasing it from Joe Cecchio, I believe, or John Shelton owned it for 30 years. And, it was kind of a mixed up mess because Ed was trying to lease it and Joe Cecchio was wanting to buy it. And, but anyway, Ed put Jim out there to watch the place because he wanted to get it out of town because he'd already beat up 2 people in town, Jim had. And he was there, it was kind of he needs to get away from people. He's not very sociable.
Yeah, was Dylan invited? I mean, was Dylan invited to like the family get together that weekend, or?
He could, man. He was in a hurry. He was cooking. He went to Idaho and got seed. I think that was like Tuesday. Because I never have talked to his grandma to find out exactly. Because he told me he was going to get seed. But